Alright gang, so in the last video I got a couple comments asking for a video on high time frame bias. So I thought what better to do than actually give you guys my high time frame bias live. So in this video I'm going to be doing a live how I frame my high time frame bias live for the week of the 1st of December, and therefore you guys can pick up some stuff from that and pick up pieces on how I actually do it myself. Just to add to that, I'm going to link my Discord in the description below. If you guys want to join that, I'm going to be giving away free outlooks, free weekly outlooks, free daily outlooks, as well as giving some free sauce away, building a little community. So if you guys want to join that, you can join the little community, listen to my weekly outlooks on that, and also get some free sauce. So yeah. All right, welcome to the weekly outlook. So we're going to start off with news. Alright, so Monday, PMI, Tuesday's kind of nothing, non-farm employment change, PMI. Okay, so it looks like we've got a pretty packed week, start to finish, Monday, Tuesday. Alright, the week looks good for news. So for me, based off the news, because it's high impact drivers throughout the entire week, I'll be looking to swing trade this week. Due to the fact I wouldn't be wanting to intraday during high drivers like this. So definitely looking for a swing this week. Alright, on to DXY. So just to let you guys know, you always start with news because so you can get a feel for what is actually going to move the market this week. So economic drivers, that's what actually moves the market. So we always start with economic drivers for the week, find out what is going to move the market this week. So yeah, the week looks very, very packed, start to finish, so that looks good. So we know that the monthly candle just closed because it's the 1st of December next week. So what can we see from that? So the original target was this high here, this FVG. But we can see that we closed the month bearish because of last week. Last week we had a big drop last week. That's why we closed bearish, and we've created a little FVG here, an imbalance. Now, this is very interesting because if you were trading last week, you'll know that last week was a very, very strong week. So we can see here we had this big move up 2 weeks ago. We had this big move up 2 weeks ago. This candle here. Oh my god. Right, you get the point. Right, this candle here. And we've almost completely reversed that. I'm gonna show you guys a little pattern. So let me just mark out the monthly FVG again. Actually, I need to delete that. Alright. So on the weekly chart, we can see we've been in very, very nice bullish order flow. Every time we've swept the high, we've retraced, and we've retraced quite deep. So here, this is the weekly order block. We've tapped the weekly order block here, and we've reacted off the weekly order block. Here, we've tapped the weekly order block, which is this bearish candle here. We've tapped the weekly order block here. We've reacted off of it. However, this week, we came into the weekly order block, and if we go to the daily, as soon as we came into the daily order block, look, we tried to push up. We attempted to push up. We failed completely, and we rejected. So we rejected the move up, and we closed bearish. For me, that's telling me that we wanna go and potentially sweep this low here. I was corrected by a friend. This is actually sell side liquidity. I don't know why I called it buy side liquidity. Sell side liquidity. Sweep this low here, get some sell side liquidity, fill the monthly imbalance, and then potentially shoot back up after. And this would be the monthly low in here, and we'd potentially go and sweep monthly high and get even closer to this monthly imbalance here. So actually I'm just going to mark it out with that here, because so we can see on the weekly we also just swept liquidity here in the previous weekly high, and that caused for the fall. So based off the weekly chart, for me, I can see us first sweeping this low, then I can see us reacting off the low. So essentially something like this. Off the low, we maybe come up, get somewhere to enter, and then we're pushing up. Now, do I think it's probable? So let's go and mark out the monthly high and the monthly low. So the monthly high is here, and monthly low is here. This is the whole monthly range. Do I think it's probable, right, for us to come in and sweep the monthly low, and then in the same week sweep the monthly high? For me, that's improbable. So I don't think that's going to happen this week or next week. So for me, it just depends on how quickly we fill this imbalance. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to fill this monthly imbalance, sweep this weekly low, and then trade up from there. I don't think I want to trade down, depending on how long it takes. We can see what happens on the Monday range. For me, I don't think I want to sweep. I don't think I want to trade down. I want to just wait so I can catch this whole move up. Now, if we go into the daily, we can see that we're actually not that far away from this low. We're actually not that far away at all from this low. And we're closer to this low than we are to this high. And also, like I said, another thing to point out here is we had a massive daily imbalance that we completely rejected. We completely rejected this daily imbalance. If we even go to the 4 hour, you can see in this imbalance, we tried to push up. We had strong rejections of this or to the downside on these two candles, but we still kept pushing down. We still kept pushing down. Even here, last week, some people, including myself, thought maybe this is when we're going to go up because we tapped the weekly order block. Maybe this is when we're going to start going up, but no, we still kept going down. For me, that's a very, very strong reason to believe why we're going to come and sweep this low first. Now, for the target, what do I think is going to happen? Knowing, if we go back to news, PMI on Monday, that's a good driver. Tuesday's quite dry. So for me, I just want to see what Monday does, because if Monday we can come here and we can get close to sweeping this low, that changes everything. I think that this week we can maybe sweep the low on Tuesday, and then trade up from Tuesday, maybe targeting this daily high here. Because I think it's, like I said, it's extremely improbable for us to take the monthly low and the monthly high in 1 week. That doesn't really make sense. Or, if the Monday range is quite dry, and we maybe come just here, come up here, create a little imbalance on the 4 hour, 1 hour, maybe I can take an intraday targeting lows here. The monthly imbalance here. Maybe I can do that. But again, really just waiting for the Monday range to play out and see how far we move on Monday. Now, I'm not bothered if we come all the way down here and then we only come down here for week 1 and I don't trade. I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that, because I would rather catch this move up anyway, because it's a bigger range and it's more probable, than to catch this move down because it's going to be low RR. Where would I have my stop loss if I took a short position here? Is it really worth it just to target a 1-to-1 RR, maybe even a negative RR? For me, it's not really worth it. So again, just have to see what the Monday range plays, and we can maybe catch an intraday on a D-risk now. So we've set the stone for DXY. What am I looking for? I'm looking. Now, that's not to say that we can't just go up. Of course we can go up, because we're in the weekly order block. We've not completely rejected the weekly order block. The weekly order block being here, we are still inside the weekly order block. So that's not to say that we can now reject price. We can now react off of the the weekly order block and target these highs. That's completely fine. That's why I want to wait for the Monday range, because I want the Monday range to give me a clue. If we react on Monday, yes, I'm maybe looking for an entry on Monday to take longs up to these highs. If Monday pushes down, I'm looking maybe to take an intraday here. If we come all the way down on Monday, then I'm looking to take longs up here. So I think Monday is key, maybe even Tuesday as well. Just being patient this week, because there's a lot of things that can happen this week. So let's have a look at Euro GBP, because we want to decide whether we want to trade Euro USD or if we want to trade GBP USD. Now, let me just delete that. So in the weekly time frame, Euro GBP, we just came and filled this weekly imbalance, and it's looking like we've reacted off of it nicely. Let me just go in the monthly, see if there's anywhere to. So I think we're going to target probably these highs next. So I think that is what, coming to the weekly imbalance, I think Euro GBP probably makes sense for it to be bullish. So that means if we are taking sells, if we're taking DXY longs, we're looking for GBP USD sells rather than Euro USD. Sorry, because it looks like Euro GBP is going to flip bullish. I'm going to sweep these highs here. Now, let's have a look at GBP USD. Something I also noticed, and a couple people have noticed as well, is that if we look at GBP USD on the daily time frame, right? So we know that DXY and GBP USD and Euro USD are inversely correlated. However, GBP USD is looking extremely bearish. It wants to go down a lot. Look, so we can see here a bearish candle and a doji last 2 days. If we go to DXY, so based off of that, right? Based off of that, we know that DXY should be bullish if they're inversely correlated. However, DXY is actually bearish. Both bearish and pretty. Look at that. We had a massive rejection to the downside. So GBP USD should be bullish. However, it's not, which is promising. And if we look at the monthly chart, we can also see we have the imbalance here, the same imbalance as DXY. And the weekly chart, this imbalance is extremely close. Now, because GBP USD is so weak and it's so bearish right now, it makes sense for us to slowly make our way up here as DXY makes quite a big move down. GBP USD slowly makes its way up here, and then we trade down. However, like I said, it all depends on DXY and what the Monday range does. If we go to the daily, we can see here that this monthly imbalance is extremely close. That is, to me, it looks inevitable that it's going to come here, except the market does what it wants. So we just need to wait and get clues from the Monday range so that we can trade off of the clues that we're given. So essentially, for me, also, one thing to notice here, look at this. So if we remember to what I said on DXY, that I think it's extremely improbable for us to. Let me just delete all this again. Too much going on. So this is the monthly high for November, and this is the monthly low for November, and this is also the monthly FVG. This is the low for the monthly FVG. I think it's extremely improbable for us to sweep the monthly low and then sweep the monthly high in the same week. So I don't think that's very probable. So we need to be logical, right? So if I'm looking at the daily chart on GBP USD, knowing that it's extremely bearish, maybe this small FVG is a good place to target. And here's my thinking, right? this is the next target for GBPUSD bearish wise. If we come up here and we trade lower, and I take my profits here, if it sweeps the low here, I'm not bothered, because I know that in my head that I'm playing the safe route, knowing that it's improbable for DXY to sweep the high, the monthly high. So we just need to be a little bit mature when we're taking profits. We don't want to be greedy. We just want to be mature. Would you rather take profits and secure your profits, maybe losing out on a little range here? You've got that whole move missing out on the little range, or would you rather be greedy, target all the way down here, and then your take profit doesn't get hit and you get stopped out of break even? So you just have to be a little bit mature. Who's to say though? Again, we don't just react off the weekly order block on DXY and we just trade down from here. We just trade down from here, targeting here and here after DXY, and so on. Maybe this is our entry here. So, like I said, DXY is the main thing we have to do is just be patient and wait for DXY to make its move on Monday, maybe even Tuesday. We need to see, like I said, PMI on Monday at 3 p.m. This is UK time, so wherever you are, if you go on Forex Factory, it's just going to be local time. So we need to see what the Monday range does, see what PMI has to show, and if the opportunity is given, we can look to trade from there. Again, if we're on DXY, for me, knowing that we completely rejected this imbalance here, this is the first week in a long time that we haven't reacted off of the weekly order block. So you can see here, it came into weekly order block, reacted, came into weekly order block, reacted. Here we've just sunk in and we've closed in. We haven't reacted. We tried to react, but we didn't react. We rejected off of the reaction, and we've just sunk in and we've closed in. So it seems to me probable for us to come and sweep this low before we trade higher. So that's the weekly bias for next week, essentially. See what Monday has to say. See what PMI has to say. Maybe even Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. Who knows? Just be patient. Wait for our opportunity to come to us, and then take it from there. If you guys want daily outlooks as well, weekly outlooks, just join the Discord. I'll link it in the description below. I'll be sending daily outlooks and weekly outlooks for next week's for the next coming weeks, as well as dropping some free sauce. So I'll link that in the description. Feel free to join. It's a nice community. Building it. I just started it like 2 days ago. Like 2 days ago. So yeah. Right, that's the weekly bias done. Trade safe next week. Don't over risk. Be patient. Be patient. That's the main key, because there's a lot of things that price can do next week. All right, peace.